Hey guys, sorry I was a little bit late. This was all set up and ready to go, but I forgot that I had a live event tonight, so my phone just buzzed at me and it took me a second to get everything put up. Okay, so now I need to go back. I think I need to go back to this other window. Darn it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it tonight, guys. Okay, so if you're there, make sure to type in because otherwise I don't know if I'm doing this right. I think this is the right night. It better be the right night. Okay. So if there is anybody out there, if you could type in the comments so that I know that you're there. I'm gonna put on the other camera. There we go. That camera makes me look a little bit more alive and not quite so dead. Okay. Tonight I don't necessarily have any huge plans to talk about. Let's see what has been happening. Today, just before the show started, I locked myself out of the trailer. Sometimes the doorknob will actually, as you turn the doorknob, it'll actually turn the lock itself. And so I found myself locked out of the trailer. We had to go get Paige, curl up on the one window that you could get in with. And that was super fun. Let's see. I am not sure. Okay, so I don't see any conversation. I don't know why. Let's see. I don't know if it's working or not. Okay, so I don't see any conversations. And I don't see any chat. Okay, so now I see chat, but I'm having to look at it from another. Okay, let's turn that off. Okay, now I can see. How is the weather today? How is the weather today? Our weather today is warm. It's quite humid. Okay, so now I can see conversations. It's really weird that it's on another window. I don't always feel like I'm put together on these shows. It just makes me look like an idiot. But then I'm like, I don't know what page I'm supposed to be on. Okay, Weetree, do you have instant message with her to let her know she has about 4 minutes delay? 4 minutes, holy cow. 4-minute delay. Okay, so that means that you guys want me to be spontaneous in what I talk about. Let's see what's going on. We just got Final Cut Pro. That was really exciting. We had a friend that felt sorry for me that it was taking me 12 hours to edit things, and so they actually sent me Final Cut Pro in exchange for some help with their channel. And so I've been playing with Final Cut Pro today. It's been really fun. It has sped things up quite a bit. And let's see, Simply Tweebing said, are you still in Florida? We are in Florida. The reason that there's the confusion with the vlogs versus the like how-to and the tiny house showings is that a couple of times a week I have to put up something that's like a really solid video instead of just a vlog. And because I do that, it sets me behind on my vlogs so far that my vlogs are never in order. Like I do them I try to do them chronologically, but it just doesn't always happen. So the one today from Louisiana was just before we got to Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead. Okay, so Minuteman. Am I still on the wrong window? I really don't understand how this thing works. Okay. So I hope you guys are caught up. What else? We did get a van since the last time that since the last time we had our live show. Sorry, guys. I'm used to being able to answer questions, and now we don't have any questions, and so I'm having to kind of shoot from the hip. We had gone out and looked at what would probably be considered trash vehicles that were just on their last leg, but were really, really inexpensive. And then we got a call from a place that John had gone and looked at by himself, and they had a minivan that had really, really, really low miles, and it was a really good price and very clean. And so we ended up spending a little bit more than we wanted to, or that we thought we would, but we got a much better, much safer vehicle. It looks brand new inside. Nearly organic noshing. Hi. Okay, let's see. I should have, stop. Okay, it just rolled right past me. Micro farm here in North Carolina. Randy, do we already have you on the list to come see you? Hike with Mike says, what area of Florida are you in? We are by Fort Myers. I think that's the biggest town close to us. Everything else we're out we really are out in the boondocks. We're 20 minutes from everything. Okay, Great Western Garden said, I've missed so many videos from everyone lately. I didn't realize you're on the road. Now I'm thankful you're still online. Yes, we are still online. Hey, Jerry, how are ya? Okay, so Miniman said, we can ask questions, but trying to keep up with chat will be hard because of the delays. Oh, I'm sorry. Hi from Western New York. Let's see. So what else has been happening? Trisha's family has been sick. We haven't been doing as much with them lately. It's really hard when you have two homeschooling families, because when you go out and you hang out with other people, even people that you've been waiting for months to meet, if you're both homeschooling, it really messes up your schedule. So when we first got here, I think for the first week and a half, 2 weeks, we saw each other every single day. And now we've cut it back to, I think, 2 or 3 times a week, which I think is perfect. It's enough for the kids to really get together and play and be really happy. But it's not so frequent that we feel like we can't also have our kids do chores. Let's see. So Simply Tweet Beings, they're in Florida out in the boondocks too. Okay, so just so everybody knows, right now we are really trying to fill up our film roster. Everything is very slow here in Florida, and a lot of times we're having to stretch out our filming appointments, where I'd really like to have a filming appointment at least every 3 days. I'm really aiming for every other day, a filming appointment every other day. It keeps us busy, keeps us, keeps us snappy, keeps us fresh from kind of getting lazy and getting just so videos. It's nice that the state isn't enormous. We can pretty much get everywhere in one day trips from here. Let's see. Let's see. Renato Tarika Rodriguez says, do you miss your farm? I desperately miss my farm. I also miss winter. I miss my wood burning stove. I really like to go back and watch my old videos, and I'm really happy with how they turned out, because I go back at them and I feel prosperous. Probably the thing I miss about my farm the most is the food. At the time when we were homesteading, I felt like we were spending a lot of money on feed and a lot of time and money on seeds and that kind of thing. But kind of living like the real world now and looking at our grocery bill, I really miss the food. We had a pretty minuscule grocery budget. John Perry said, I really like the video about her friend's greenhouse. That would be Daniel from Arms Family Homestead. He is doing a lot of videos right now on his greenhouse, and that is pretty fun. I'm not exactly sure why I have my headphones on since I have it muted. Having the earphones on makes me feel like I'm underwater. Let's see. How are your, okay, Mukongola Sitati, how are your kids adapting to the RV life? Right now, I guess we're kind of still in the RV life because we're in a trailer. It doesn't have a bathroom. It doesn't have any kind of running water. So right now we're more like off-grid living, with the exception that we do have electricity. And we are still in a small space. The kids are fine. And for most of the trip, it's been more about wishing they had friends to play with and how fast-paced we were rather than living in the RV itself. It was more about the speed with which we were traveling. Eden Elson said, are you ever going back to homesteading? Yes. This is just a very short hiatus from homesteading. Everything that I'm focused on, everything that I think is important in life hinges back to growing your own food, taking care of the land, living purposefully. And to me, purposeful living is homesteading. And so, yes, we will be homesteading again. Okay, so Renato said, hello from Miami, Florida. So you're super close to us. We're Fort Myers area. Hike with Mike said, how did you do with the wicked weather that passed through us in Florida last Sunday? John got scared. He really wanted us to go find somewhere to hide. And we had a tornado when I was a kid in Idaho that was a lot scarier than this one. So I think I was pretty mellow, and but John gets really excitable in unpredictable situations. He just gets really concerned about the safety of his family, and this was no exception. He got really worried about things, and but it turned out okay. We have some pretty strong winds in Idaho, and we have had tornadoes there, not on a regular basis, but we always have really strong winds, so it didn't seem too bad. Let's see. Randy Thomas said, Nevada, Tennessee, Florida, Miami, where else? Idaho. I am from Idaho. Hey, Cockeyed Homestead. Let's see. Great Western Gardens. If you ever come through Southwest Kansas, you all be welcome to stop here. Thank you. And on that note, I'll give you guys a little bit more of our itinerary here in the near future. We'll be here through the end of February, and then we're leaving the end of February. Our next stop is in Alabama with Go for Green Living, and we'll probably be there for a couple weeks. At that point, we really need to scoot. About the middle, maybe the third week in March, we really need to start scooting. We need to get back home. And so then we'll go back to more of what we were doing when we first came out on our trip, which is we'll be driving fast. We'll be staying overnight in one spot. We won't be staying anywhere very long. The one exception to that will probably be, why is my mind drawing a blank? It's because you guys changed your name twice, and so I always want to say one thing when I know it's not. It's Doug and Stacy, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. So they will probably be our longer stay. If we have a little bit more time to burn, we'll go stay with Doug and Stacy. We're going to go see them anyway, but we might stay longer than a few days if we can. And we need to pop in and see Tangi. The problem is we have visited quite a few states. We haven't visited nearly all the states that we wanted to. Stephanie Price said, will you be living in a tiny house like the ones you filmed after you're done traveling? The answer to that is yes. We have some tentative, not contracts, but deals worked out to get some advice with designs and also which kind of structure will work best for where we're going. And we have gone for, we have one in particular that we're really leaning towards because it's very inexpensive to build and it can be sent as a kit. So for people who are not experienced builders, I think it's ideal. Let's see, I think I may have missed a question. Let's see if I can. Oh, I love my computer because it's so crazy. Let's see. Renato said, my family and I are looking forward to the North versus South of Deep South. When will you start? Well, we've already started that one. We have the winter and we've done the spring and we've done the summer. So all we have left is Deep South Homestead will now be doing fall, and that will be this Saturday. Let's see if I missed any. Okay. Kevin Harrington said, oh, where'd you go, Kevin? Dang it, I lost it. Okay, to the note that Kevin Harrington said that he likes, let's see, I love storms, but this past year a tornado went right next to our house and it was a little much for me. Oh, I could totally see that. Okay, John Pear said, loved her lesson on starting small, especially with the animals and making sure everything has as many purposes as possible. See, I totally believe in that because I was raised on something of a larger hobby farm. It was 12 acres, which for one family is plenty of acreage. And it was so much that you planted so much that in the end it was hard to get it all harvested. And maybe if we as kids had been more efficient and things had been different for my family, we would have been able to use all that land and really make a better go of it. But for me, when I started to garden, I really wanted to make it very small and efficient and manageable because I struggle with some autoimmune disorders that make my energy unpredictable. And so by doing it small, it meant that I could handle it myself if my husband couldn't handle it. My husband had no interest in gardening, and so I couldn't really rely on him for help in keeping it going. And so keeping it small just felt like the honest way to do it rather than having it be something that caused friction. Let's see. The Simple Life Homesteading the Pioneer Way said, I live in a tiny house. That's awesome. Kevin Harrington said, do you have the information on that tiny house? The one that I want to build? Is that what you're asking about, Kevin? The one that I like, the builder that we prefer is the one that's the Uncharted Tiny Homes. He's the king of tiny house design, is the video that I put up. And he's in Phoenix. I loved his very family-oriented approach to tiny houses. I really, really appreciated that it took some of the stylistic part of a good RV design and applied it to tiny homes. I really liked that. Because design really, really matters in a tiny space. Let's see. Let's see. I don't see a video yet. Why? You might have to refresh, Randy. Let's see. Flying versus Farms. Have you been enjoying your spinning? I haven't been doing a lot of it lately. I was actually doing it tonight a little bit to try and get some yarn off the spindle so I could. The problem is we're going from living in this trailer and having lived in an RV to living in a van. We're going to be living in the minivan while we're traveling back across the states. And we may or may not get a tiny trailer to pull behind. We don't know. And so I need to cut back on things that are non-essential. So I might be selling my hopper just because even though it's small, it does take up some space and it's non-essential right now. I guess I could ship it back home. I don't know if that's what I want to do or not, because I really don't spin on it that much. If I was here on more of a vacation, I would use it more, but because I'm working, I don't have enough spare hours to really spend a lot of time on it. Let's see. Randy Thomas said, I'm building one on site, 16 by 24. I think that's a really, really good size. The one we wanted was 14 by 32 was the size that we really felt would give us room for a little food storage room and a man cave for John and a big enough kitchen and a sitting room. We thought that would be a really good size for us. Let's see. Cockeyed Homestead said, lids are never efficient. Lids. I wonder if I didn't understand that. Say it again, Cockeyed. I don't understand. I might just be a little bit slow tonight. I always get a little bit flustered for live shows and my brain slows down a little bit. We tree message inbound. Are you sending a message to me, Minuteman, or to WeTree? Let's see. Great Western Gardens. I doubt you remember, but you shared some advice with me about raising rabbits some time back. Thank you again. You're welcome. I hope it was good advice and not bad advice. Jerry Roberts said, your daughters are so cute and learning so much about real life. Unfortunately, I have two grandsons in the, is that the Atlanta area, that don't have experience outside of the cyber world. Well, the girls are getting a little bit of a taste of the cyber world right now. We went and got, what are they called? A tablet so that they could do some of their school on it. they're not doing video games, but they are doing a little bit of drawing on them. So they're getting a little bit of that cyber world right now. Let's see. The Garden Channel said, will you be staying in the desert? With the tiny house, is that the question? No, we would be staying on our own property in Idaho, on our farm, and we would build the tiny house there and then maybe use it as an Airbnb, and also for housing guests that will hopefully be coming over time. The people that we stayed with on our trip, we're hoping they'll all come and visit us sometime, and we want somewhere nice for them to stay. So, and we would live in it until then, until that time. Let's see. Minuteman said, well, Jerry, what parts of the cyber world do they frequent? Because some games teach them some of what they need to know. You may just need to reinforce with examples. Okay. I must be missing something. Oh, kids, not lids. Gotcha, cockeyed. I was like, kids, yeah. Kids always make things difficult. Is that what you said? I'm trying to remember the conversation, and I thought it said lids always make things difficult. I'm like, how do lids make things difficult? Okay, Bandana Grandma said, is there a specific dimension that separates tiny homes from small homes? Yes, 400 square feet. Anything under 400 square feet is a tiny home. Anything over 400 square feet gets into small home range, is kind of the classification bracket. Cockeyed Homestead said, stars, still not typing well on one hand. You're forgiven. I don't speak well on a nighttime brain, so we're even. Let's see. Okay, so We Tree. Let's see. Mud Pie Girl said, we Etsy. Are you talking, does We Tree have an Etsy store? Kevin, I totally agree with what you're saying. Kevin said, only to people who consider themselves tiny house purists. I think just the idea of living smaller is what really counts. Yes, I 100% agree with that. It's about living in a space that causes joy for you. It's living in a space where you don't feel cluttered, where you don't feel like the cost of your home is a burden. I know for a lot of people that mortgage feels excessive because you have to work so hard to pay for the house that you don't have time to enjoy the house. I think that's really what it's about. Okay, so the Simple Life Homesteading the Pioneer Way said, what is an Airbnb? So an Airbnb is a small, well, to all intents and purposes, it's a bed and breakfast, except you're not providing breakfast usually. What it is it's like a hotel service that's in people's private homes. So people who have a cabin or an extra room, an extra apartment, they can rent that out to people as if it was a hotel and make extra money without actually having to be a bed and breakfast or hotel. And so the prices range anywhere from $35 a night up to thousands of dollars a night, depending on what you're doing. Some people rent out the whole house and charge like $3,000, and it's just for the night because it's such a cool house. And so a lot of people make a secondary income by having an Airbnb, and a lot of times it's like a glamping type of a place. It's like, for all intents and purposes, you're camping, but you have a few amenities on the side, like an outside shower and an outhouse, things like that. Let's see. Hi to Young's Travel. That sounds fun. I like that title. I need to remember you guys and go find that. That's really cute. Okay. Let's see, where are we? And then Cockeyed said less to clean too, and that is true. For me, that's a really big deal. I hate spending my life cleaning. I really like to be able to clean minimally and then go live my life. I don't like to be attached to a vacuum. In our old house, we went through a new vacuum every 6 months because we lived on a farm. We had carpet, and we lived down a dirt road, and so I was constantly vacuuming. Let's see. Ridge Rover said, appreciate your travels and videos. Take care. Thank you. The Simple Life said, my tiny house is 12 by 20 with a small porch. And remind me, Simple Life Homesteading, how many kids do you have? Just out of curiosity. Jerry Roberts said, Idaho is becoming the mecca for alternative life living, but the winters, LOL. See, And that's true. Idaho's popular for alternative lifestyles because we, in my opinion, we have a lot of civil liberties still left. And depending on where you are, you can have a lot of freedom in Idaho. The winters, I love the winters. I love going out and doing chores. They keep me up and active and in good shape in the winter. And I do love the winters. I'm enjoying my Florida winter this year, but I do miss my Idaho winters. Hey, Todd, how are you? You should see some of the things the girls have been making me. They're all over the place. Let's see if I can pull it out so Lisa can see it. Hey, Lisa, you should come see this. So this is one of the little belts that Kaya made me. I have several. She keeps giving them to me. She has done some really amazing things with those looms, so thank you. Hey, babe. So, do you guys need to go take a shower?
No.
You're looking very dirty.
So I just picked a whole bunch of tangerines.
Okay, so we're doing a live show. So Paige just went and picked a whole bunch of tangerines.
And now they're in the baskets. So we have tangerines.
Thank you. That was good. Okay, where's your sister?
Oh, sure, yeah, in a rush.
Okay, you go play or you go take a shower, okay? Let's see. Kevin Harrington said some bad stories with Airbnb sounds scary to me. So we have stayed in a couple Airbnbs because we were filming them. I don't think we ever stayed at one just because we were staying at one. And they were really nice, but we were going to some really different ones. They were, most of them were tiny and a lot of them were really charming and really fun. They had something special about them. We haven't ever stayed with another family with an Airbnb where we like rented just a room, and we've never rented a whole house. Well, I guess that one was a freebie because we were filming. They just felt bad for us to have to travel all the way to a hotel when they had their Airbnb available, and so they very generously told us to use it. That was at Camp Go, Texas, and that was the container houses, and we stayed in that overnight, and it was really nice. Let's see, but Airbnb is an actual organization website. Yes, that's true. That was Bandana Grandma. Airbnb is an actual website. Let's see. Kevin Harrington said the winters in Idaho are very balmy compared to, is it Maine? Where I'm at, so it seems very attractive to me. Yeah, and so I know that at least there's several states that actually have it worse than Idaho. Like I know Vermont, they can get down to like -90 with wind chill. And I mean, that's really extreme. We can get down to -40. Hi, babe. No, I think you guys need to go take a shower. Get your stuff together and go take a shower, please. You're both very dirty. You've been playing in the dirt. Go quick. And so, yeah, and lately we've had some winters that we never even really got down into the negative. We stayed at like some of the coldest weather was 10 above. It really wasn't that cold. Let's see. Okay, so Randy Thomas said, okay, I'm more of a cabin than a tiny house. Still at 16 by 24 feet. Yeah, and see, I like it. I like a small house. I think tiny houses, when you have kids, you go from enjoying life to kind of gritting and bearing it just because. And I do think that comes down to the purist mentality. I don't think you're supposed to be suffering by having a small house. I think it's supposed to bring you more joy than other options you could choose. I think it is about intentional living, not about purist living, definitely. Let's see. Flying VS Farm said, we've been considering Airbnb for our place in Cali since we don't live there year-round, although I wish we did. And it might be really good for you. I know a lot of people that have farms will do an Airbnb because it's kind of themed, and people are attracted to the idea of seeing something that they themselves don't do. A lot of the places we've stayed have a kind of a theme like that. Oh, there's rain country. Okay, hey y'all, just got home from town, caught some video of the beautiful lake. We have to drive around on our trips to town and often take for granted. Oh, I'm excited to see that. Let's see, Jerry Roberts said, I did Airbnb in Costa Rica, worked out fine. Yeah, and I think if you really want to see kind of the flavor of the area, I don't think you get the flavor of the area going to a hotel. You can get the flavor of the area by having an RV and doing an RV park, but I think you get even more of that flavor by doing an Airbnb, or like what we did, where most of the places we stayed with hosts. We stayed with our YouTube viewers, and we got to experience their home life. And I mean, that was the ultimate way to do it. If you can do it, that's that's probably the best way to do it. And we loved that part of what we have done on our trip. Let's see. Renato Tarika Rodriguez said, Julie, is there an area in Idaho that's not as cold as where you live? Yes. If you go to northern Idaho, it's much balmier than where we are. We're southeast Idaho, and we're in a very cold pocket. And if you go to northern Idaho, up like around Coeur d'Alene and Moscow, it's beautiful up there. And it's like 2 growing seasons warmer than us. You can grow peaches up there. And but it's hard. You can grow peaches where we live too. We have grown peaches, but you don't get like the peachiness of a peach. They're more like an apricot. And so they have a lot of rain in those areas, so it's not as deserty. If you want a really, really beautiful area where you can grow quite a few things, you go to, oh goodness, don't tell me I'm going to forget. It's Daughter of Dorcas. Daughter of Dorcas, are you there? Remind me where you live. Because that's one place we thought, dang, if we could go back there, that was beautiful. The video we did where it was a master craftsman creates a masterpiece or whatever, that video was taken there, and it's called the Banana Belt of Idaho, and it's really nice there for growing things. Let's see. Two Youngs Travel said, we actually are thinking about getting a couple of small yurts, living in one and Airbnb the other. Any thoughts? I think that's a brilliant idea. I know that Fouchomatic, they have lived in a yurt, and I think their yurt cost them like $10,000. That's about what they run for a livable size yurt, and which is comparable to a very inexpensive mobile home. You can sell them again afterwards, and you can live rent free if you're building something else, or you can just live in the yurt. And I know that Esther really valued her time in the yurt, and they still have it, and they use it as a schoolroom. So I don't think that a yurt is a bad investment at all. I've looked into it, and if you're handy, I think that's great because you can maybe build your own platform and take some of the cost out that way. I know there are additions and insulation and windows and stuff that you can put on that make them nicer. The option that we're looking at right now is actually cheaper than that, and I think better for our Idaho winters. And they're called arched cabins, and they are in Texas. I'm trying to remember what part of Texas they were in. Is it Cypress, Texas? But it's arched cabins, and I think their website is archedcabins.com. And we're going to try and go get a video of one here in Florida to show you what they look like. But the prices for those just can't be beat. And because they're metal on the outside and they're arched, they handle snow loads really well. So I'm kind of excited. I kind of think that's what we're going to go with in the end, just because of the price and because of the way I think they would really fit into our weather. Let's see. Cockeyed Homestead said, "LOL, just did a video on vacuums." I love vacuums if they are working well, but I know that we had a lot of carpet. I think this is where we're going back to. Is you go back to my comment about vacuums and how much I hate vacuuming. I think carpet is gross. I think you know, when you don't have carpet, you realize just how much dirt is getting into your carpet, if that makes sense. And that really grosses me out. When we have as many animals as we do and as many little feet coming in and out of the house as we do, I think it's more hygienic to sweep. And then if you're ever off grid, you don't have to wonder how you're going to keep your floors clean, you know? Okay, Rich Rover said, John and Mary of Zilla say hi. Hey, guys. Oh my gosh, it is so exciting to see you guys. How are you? We stayed with them, and it was so much fun. Zilla is such a nice little town. So glad to see you guys. Okay, so Randy Thomas said, Idaho. See Idaho Hillbilly on YouTube. Yes, I have seen his channel. I think there for a while they had some videos of like gathering eggs while nude. And maybe I'm thinking of the wrong channel, but I think that's what they were doing. Maybe it was some other channel. I thought that just sounded unsafe, especially if you have roosters that are aggressive. And so I didn't watch it for a little while, but they do have some interesting, I don't remember, maybe I'm thinking the wrong channel. Oh my goodness, I must have quite the lag. I must have a huge lag. Dang. Ridge Rover said, how has your solar been working? Our solar on the RV worked really well up until we got into Oklahoma. And then we had, I don't know if I stayed up and edited too late one night, but something happened with the electrical at that point. And then we took some bad advice at a auto mechanic shop and it fried all of our wires. And so the solar was working really well up to the point where it suddenly wasn't. And then it got really expensive really fast replacing that. And then we ended up leaving the RV in Mississippi with Danny and Wanda from Deep South Homestead. Let's see. My goodness, I need to go back up. Oh my goodness, how many did we lose? Oh, I'm going to have to go way up. How far? How far? My goodness. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize how far back I had missed. Oh, how exciting. So Lori Family Homestead says they're getting their tiny house trailer tomorrow. That is so exciting. And Alabama Homestead, Anna is here. And then I don't have children at home. I lived there with my mom till Saturday. She went home with the Lord, so now I live alone. Okay, so that size house for the Simple Life Homesteading the Pioneer Way, she was telling me about how big her house was and how big was big enough. And I think John and I could handle something a lot smaller if we didn't have kids right now, but we have kids and we want to keep them. So we're having to go for something a little bigger. Let's see if we can go down. And Go for Green Living says we are 21 by 21. I think that's a really good size. So everybody check out Go for Green Living here. They will be in fact, they will be our next stay over. And we have some really exciting projects set up for them. And Todd just mentioned something important. Todd Cottle said, I don't know, you have kids now, but soon you'll have teenagers, small adults. You need more space. One of the reasons that John is really attracted to the monolithic dome is the idea that you can add on smaller units and grow it out as you go. You know, we can start out with something small. And I mean, with any home, you can do that. You can add on. There's Mr. Rain. Hey. Okay. Let's see. Two Youngs Travel said we actually did Airbnb on our backpacking trip. Loved it. Yeah, I think you can get some really amazing culture by doing the Airbnb. Rich Rover said Mary has been crocheting baby booties. How has your solar been working? So I already answered that one. Teresa Dean said, oh my, by the look of my pizza, you can tell I never worked in a pizzeria before. It doesn't matter what it looks like. What does it taste like? Okay, so let's see if there's anybody else that Ed Kirkpatrick said, I think I'll just stay in my 12 by 24 cabin in central Georgia. I don't like the cold stuff. Now, I have to admit that we've had some really cold weather while we've been down south because your humidity here is so much higher. So when it gets just even mildly cold, it really gets cold, even though it doesn't say it so much on the thermometer. Thermometer is the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for? Let's see. And Tangi's here. Say hi to Tangi. Tangi the Caver's wife. She helps me with so much. She is wonderful. You guys should go check out her channel. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Okay, so Two Youngs Travels said, I just checked out the Arch Cabin. Very nice. Thank you. I think I want to look into those. They look very roomy. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Did I get all the way to the bottom? I think I got all the way to the bottom. Okay, good deal. Okay, so Larry Family Homestead said, do you know what the actual longest you can grow a garden? I'm sure it is on one of your videos. That you can grow a garden in my area. In my area, I start my garden in February. I do a hotbed in my greenhouse and I plant the beginning of March and I have food in the garden by the first day of April. So lots of radishes and spinach and Swiss chard and peas and carrots. So we're actually eating out of our garden by the 1st of April. Not planting our garden in April, but eating out of it in April. And then I start my outside hotbeds, my outside gardens. They need to wait until April. So as we're harvesting out of the greenhouse in April, and that's an unheated greenhouse. It's just heated by the heat from the manure in the hotbeds. Oh, and I started talking too much. And then you can keep growing into October if you have a greenhouse, at which point, if you want to keep tomatoes and things alive, you need to add a heater. So I know people who like to use propane heat in their greenhouses. I haven't done that. We've kept chicks out in the greenhouse before and had a heat lamp on at night, and that will help. I like to double purpose things. If I'm going to have that light on, that heat lamp in the greenhouse, I better be doing something else because that's expensive to run a heat lamp. And then Tabcan said, spent the day washing bedding in case your family needs to stay the night while passing through the Atlanta area. Everything is fresh, clean, and sun-dried. Is that for our family, Tabcan? Kevin Harrington said, planting in March seems risky in the frost. So the purpose of the hotbeds is that the hotbeds are like a hot planting medium. They actually steam up and get really hot like a compost pile, and then they lower down, but you keep, every time you water that pile, it heats back up. And so the planting medium is warm, and then also the air in the greenhouse is warmed so that you have a very nice growing, even down to like -20 degrees. We've had it down to -20 degrees Fahrenheit, and the hotbeds have still kept the greenhouse warm. Okay, let's see if I can get it to scroll back up. I missed. Yes, Lori Family Homestead said Bonner's Fair is absolutely beautiful, and that is true. It is absolutely beautiful. Nearly Organic Noshing said an American homestead has excellent examples of heating with a rocket stove in their greenhouse. And that's probably very true. I haven't seen that one. I've thought about doing a rocket mass heater in the greenhouse because our heat, our cold is so, nights are always freezing, but it can get up into like 120 degrees during the day because of our bright sunshine in the greenhouse. And so I think that a rocket mass heater where the mass would hold the heat in through the night so that I didn't have to go out and stoke it, I think that would be a great idea. Okay. Flying VS Farm said, this is the time of year I go sit in my greenhouse with a chair and a book just to get warm. That's true. I love that. Okay, Minnie Stedding said, how much longer are you staying at Trisha's? So we will be here through the end of February. The reason being not because we have a ton to film here, but because we are nomadic. We need to time things very carefully. And we were getting sick just before we got to Danny and Wanda's at Deep South Homestead. We were getting sick because we were out in the cold too much with our RV. It was just too hard for us to stay warm, even though Mississippi wasn't too bad. Mississippi was still pretty warm. But when we were in Oklahoma and Texas, it was cold. It was really cold, and we got really sick. And so now we're going to be smarter. It does get into the teens in Alabama at this time of year in February. And so rather than rushing through and trying to get through and meet everybody and end up being miserable and sick and having to pay for hotels instead of being able to, it would all be very expensive and probably miserable. So instead, we're just going to wait out to the end of February in Florida, stay well, stay safe, stay happy, and then we'll just speed things up. Minuteman Homestead said, 120 has been great for my greenhouse. My plants just flourish during that hour. Yeah. We get hot like that, but we have to cool it down because a lot of what I plant early in the season is greens and peas. And so we have automatic venting on our greenhouse so that when it gets up above about 82, the vents will open, because those high highs and then those extreme low lows seem to really, really harsh my plants mellow. It does not make them happy. Okay, Minuteman said, and plant shock seems to be based a lot more on changes in pattern than lows and highs. Exactly. Yeah. So you were saying exactly what I was saying. It's the going from the really, really high down to the very, very low that seems to really hurt them. Okay, so Jerry Roberts said the Northwest climate can be so variable. My son lives near Yellowstone. He has 4 seasons: bitter cold, very cold, cold, and 30 days. Spring, summer, fall. It's very true. Let's see. Kevin Harrington said Bonners Ferry is beautiful, but the land is very, very pricey. Exactly. Northern Idaho is expensive. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to live. But like most beautiful places, everybody wants to live there. So yes, it is pricey. Let's see. Down the Dirt Road, 2016. Bonners Ferry is pricey. No work and nothing to rent. Yeah, a lot of places in Idaho are like that, like Sun Valley, a lot ski resorts, and you know, even though they're harsh climates, everybody wants a piece of them. It's very true. Let's see. And Lori Family Homestead said that is why we're building a tiny house. It's because there are not any rentals, and that's what we have found here in Florida is we wanted to maybe go try and find a rental so that we weren't inconveniencing Trish and so that we had running water. But because we're here during the on season, there's nothing to rent. There's a couple places for sale, but nothing to rent. And even if we were in an RV, you have to reserve your RV spot like a year in advance in order to get an RV spot even. Oh, Off Grid with Doug and Stacy are here. What's up, Homestead homies? How are the palm trees? The palm trees, the banana trees, the avocado trees, the tangerine trees.
Yeah, we collected lots of tangerines.
We are eating well. We have a basket full of fruit at all times, and it takes us about a day.
Yeah, and we got a huge amount of tangerines.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Good job.
Breakfast.
Good girl. Okay, thank you for showering. We go through about 20, maybe 30 pounds of fresh fruits and vegetables a day between our family of 4. Mr. Rain said, yes, Julie, where is the best areas reasonably priced in Idaho? There isn't really anything reasonably priced. It's a place you actually want to live. If you go to some of the more desert areas, you can get land pretty inexpensively. But the thing is, let's see, how long ago was it? I was 22 when land prices boomed because everybody was moving out of California and into Idaho. And at that point, house prices doubled, and they haven't ever really come back down. You used to be able to buy a nice house in town for like $62,000, and now that same house would go for like $140,000. And the same thing goes for land. It's hard to find well-priced land. It's kind of a retail value now, just because there's so many subdivisions going in. It's why the price of pardon me. It's why the price of hay has gone up so much. Is because all of our alfalfa fields are being turned into residential. Let's see. Lori Family Homestead said, down the dirt, there are probably more jobs. We're trying to set up a business. It doesn't matter where you live. And I like that. For us, that's what we've done is our business travels with us. So as long as we have Wi-Fi, we're in business. And I think that's really wise anymore because a lot of times physical jobs are in a place where you don't want to live. Steading said, do you still have animals on your homestead, on our Idaho property? We do. We picked our renters because they wanted animals and we had a lower rent. We priced our rent knowing that what we were looking for was people who wanted to farm and they probably wouldn't have a lot of money. And so we charged about $300 less than the going price in order to be able to accommodate our renters being able to be happy and not feel too stretched. Let's see. We do have water. We have flood water. We have surface irrigation. Let's see. Mrs. Red Honey One said chickens is chicks versus pullets versus laying. Hubby wanted laying. I'd rather do chicks. What do you think? I'm a newbie. I like to start out with pullets because that way you have the instant gratification of having eggs. And then I like to have one hen that'll go broody and one rooster and let her hatch out her babies. And if she goes broody and you want a specific type of chicken, I'll go buy those chicks from the feed store as she's sitting on a clutch of eggs and put them under her so she'll raise them. And that's what I like to do. Let's see. Mr. Rain said, independence. Julie, your job follows you, not you following the job. That would be really nice if that was the case. Right now, unfortunately, we are following the job. My desire at this point would be that we could go back to the homestead and be able to continue to and be able to make the videos I want to make, which are about gardening and goats and that kind of thing. But people don't have as big an interest in gardening as goats as they do in the tiny house movement. People are more concerned about debt. They're more considered about being mortgage free than they are at this point about being able to grow their own food. And so it was a real struggle to leave. We really pushed it really hard there at the end to try and make it work. We pushed the Etsy store really, really hard. And for about 3 months, the Etsy store supported us. It was making money. It was going to be good. And things were working really, pardon me, things were working really, really well for about 3 months. And then 6 weeks before we left, the Etsy just bottomed out. It just crashed and burned. And that was the point where we're like, okay, well, we have to follow the job then, because we know we can make videos that people will want to see, but we have to have the subject matter that they want to see. And it was still in our value system, because I did want to live in a tiny house myself. I desperately wanted to live in a tiny house and not be in our big house anymore. I was fascinated by that. So I said, well, let's take that fascination on the road. John didn't want to be in Idaho for the winter. He desperately didn't want to be in Florida. So we combined those two desperate desires and said, well, let's go on the road for a short time. And so unfortunately, we are chasing our job currently. I pray that by the end of this trip, we will be able to settle down and do homesteading and have that be our source of videos and our source of income. I don't know if that will be a possibility, and if it's not a possibility, then when we get home, we'll still have to do some traveling, and maybe I'll just intensify things. So like maybe 1 week a month, we go out and get a whole bunch of videos of amazing places, and then we come back and we do mostly homesteading videos with maybe a once a week amazing home, amazing tiny home, amazing permaculture farm video that actually pays the bills. Because before we left, the homesteading videos were not paying the bills. There are those who can do it, who can make the homesteading videos interesting enough that people are willing to watch that and that alone. Justin Rhodes, for instance, does a really good job at that. So does Wrangler Star. They're able to take the everyday and turn it into something interesting. I don't know if I do it wrong or if I just am too new at it to have enough viewers who want to see that. I don't know what about my videos makes it so that I don't get the views on my how-to and my homesteading videos, but I just don't. And so I can't really fight that. All I can do is say, well, in order to support my family, I will follow the videos that people want to see for now. And hopefully I can figure out how to make that transition into more of a homesteading lifestyle channel rather than what it is right now, which is just pretty much a travel vlog of things that I find fascinating. Minnie Steading said, would you buy a new property to start a new homestead? It is one of the other reasons we came out, was so that we could see if we preferred to be in a milder climate, in a warmer climate. And that is a possibility. We've watched for properties. There's one that we almost bought. But so far, I have some pretty strong yearnings for my own homestead. Not for my house. I have no yearnings for my house. I have yearnings for my homestead and for my own goats and for my greenhouse. And my renter will be using all that this year. And I'm just as excited to have her use it as I would be to use it myself. I just want to see it used. I want to see it nurtured. I want to see it bloom. And so that's how it comes down. So Kanzi said, on average, what does YouTube videos bring in for an income per month? It depends on who you are. It depends on what your content is. It depends on what your views are, but it goes up and down a lot. It's a very unpredictable way to make a living, because if people don't like the current videos you're putting out, your income goes way down. So it's all over the chart. And even for one person in particular, it can be all over the chart for that one person, depending on what videos they're currently putting out. Okay, so we have 2 minutes left, and then you need to go over to Rain Country. So there's Mr. Rain, and then where's Heidi? I saw her. So you need to go over to Rain Country, Homestead, in about 2 minutes when we're done, about 1 minute. They're part of the Homestead Network. And if you want to go check out more people who are talking about homesteading and other live shows about self-reliant living, go to thehomesteadnetwork.com. It is .com, right? Do I have it right? It's .com. Renato said, how hard has it been to get good goat's milk on the road? We haven't had goat's milk since we've been on the road, and we've really, really missed it. That's been difficult. Finding the quality of food that we're used to has been difficult on the road. So yeah, can somebody put up the link to Rain Country for me? We have 1 minute, and then we all need to go over to their show. She's been doing some, has it been essential oils, or has it been herbs in general? Because Rain Country, she has a lot of knowledge about herbs, but I'm trying to remember if maybe it's been essential oils lately. Hey Bob, Homestead, I will tell John and the kids hi for sure. Oh, Rain Country isn't going on tonight? Okay, so Mr. Rain, who's on tonight? So if there's no Rain Country tonight, who's on? Because I wanted to make sure and send everybody over. Wee Tree, are you there? Do you know who it is? Or Susan? Susan, do you know who it is tonight? Old Alabama Gardener. So Kanzi, it depends on how many subscribers you have and how many views. Yes, that makes a difference. But also you can get paid different amounts for different types of videos. Some videos people really want to advertise on, and other videos people don't want to advertise on. So you can even get paid different amounts depending on what type of video you make. Okay. Okay, Off Grid with Doug and Stacey said, our live show is up from today. Everyone go listen to the kids' essays. I saw that. So everybody go check out Doug and Stacey. Okay, so the next show, thanks Freaky Geek too, is 8 p.m. Tech Talk with Brad. And that's Central Time, right? Candy said, we love your videos. You guys are a beautiful resource of good living on the homestead. We love how you're traveling around introducing different homesteaders. Keep up the good work. Oh, there was one thing I wanted to talk about, guys. So I'm doing that giveaway. For anybody that didn't see it, the primitive tool giveaway, make sure to go and check that out, because I'm not putting up an alert to that we're doing that in all my videos. I probably should, but I haven't been. I need to make a little blurb so I can add it onto my daily videos. But if you guys have a special tool that you've been longing for your homestead, we're doing that giveaway. It's called Primitive Tool Giveaway, and all you need to do is share a video. Pardon me. Is you need to go and share a video and then go back to that primitive tool video and make a comment that you shared something and what it is that you want. And then we'll be doing a drawing on February 5th. So. Oh, Heidi, what? I mean, no one is on until the Tech Talk. We're not doing the regular live shows with the network anymore. Oh, I thought you were. Why did I not know that? So is everybody still doing the Homestead Network? Am I just completely out of the loop? Because that's a pretty big span, isn't it? Was it because of your schedule? That's too bad. And there's Go for Green Living again. So Go for Green Living is one of our next big stops. Anyway. Okay, so I will probably say goodnight then, because I don't think I understand. Yeah, so go check out the giveaway if you guys need a tool. And I will see if I can figure out how to close this, since I couldn't figure out how to open it. Oh, so okay, so if anybody needs to understand that, I will go look at that, Heidi, because I don't understand. Okay, so I will say goodnight then, everybody. Thanks for sharing the videos like you have been. Oh, okay. So Rain Country. So Rain Country, do you know when you'll be doing your videos, or is it just going to be impromptu now? Your live show. Thanks, Kanzi. Okay, so I'm going to close down the live part and see if you guys want to message me what's going on. See ya.